WNBC. Fuck it. We'll do it live.
What's up, guys?
What's up, man?
What's up, man? We're back. Hard Out. My favorite movie with Clint Jones, VFX wizard, director, producer, right? Creator.
Everything.
What was that cardboard shit called? Cardboard.
Yeah, Cardboard Warfare.
Cardboard Warfare.
Yeah.
Are you aware of that, Chris?
I saw some thumbnails when I was cyber stalking him, but
dude, he crushed the internet back in the day as a youngster. Where were you in high school when you were making those? College?
I was like end of high school. Yeah, it was my friend's senior project. So yeah, it was high school.
So for people who don't know, they made like full on epic battle war scenes. And did you make an actual feature?
No, I'm doing one though.
Yes, I was going to say you should. I was going to suggest that. Anyway, it's where all the props, the tanks, the guns, all the equipment, everything is just made out of cardboard, but you play it as realistically as possible and dramatically as possible, you know.
It's
fucking
funnier
awesome.
that way. It's funnier that way. You know?
It's great, man.
You guys are doing this for real. I'm going to bust out the real mic.
All right, that works.
Let's see if this just magically works. Maybe it won't.
Who knows?
Sweet.
There you go.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Good.
Great.
Is that the setup you use when you do your tutorials on VFX shit?
Yeah. This is the stream setup. This stand is so janky though. I gotta get a better one. Anyway, I'm excited to freaking chat about Kung Fu Hustle.
Dude, that's his favorite movie, Kung Fu Hustle. Cat's out the bag. I haven't seen it probably since 05-ish when it came out.
Yeah. It had been a while for me too. Yeah, same, since pretty much around right after it came out, and I just watched it again last night. Shit is hilarious.
Dude, it's spectacular.
I remember it being funny, but I didn't remember it being like as fucking hilarious as it was again watching it. Yeah. And it's just, I mean, the effects and the heart and everything. It's a nice package.
It really is. Yeah, it's a full, complete movie. You know, I've seen it countless times, and it's just one of those that like it makes you cry, it makes you laugh, it makes you, it makes you think, it blows your mind. It like, and I love that character arc too. You know, someone who goes from like kind of just being a scrappy like wannabe gangster to no, like I've chosen the side I'm on, and I need to be on the right side of things. Like I like that so much.
Mm-hmm.
That's almost where the power derived from. You know, it's like just choosing the right alignment in Dungeons and Dragons unlocks some fucking special powers or something, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. Have you guys seen any of his other movies?
No, man. I need to go back. Shaolin Soccer, I know. Huge.
Yeah.
I was always like, I don't know. Soccer, fucking, you know. Which I didn't play soccer growing up, but I need to see it, man. After seeing this again, I'm like, I got to go through. That's the problem with the show. We keep having people turn us on or turn us back on to awesome shit. And they're like, now I got to go through his catalog. And I don't have time to do the shit. But
I know.
My to watch list is unbelievably long.
Yeah,
It
same.
keeps growing at a faster rate than I can watch anything.
And when we do these shows, it unearths old shit. So we're not even fucking with new stuff. This is how old people end up only liking the music from their era.
Yeah,
shit.
totally.
You know, it's just too much a deluge coming at them. And eventually you're like, wait, I need to fill out the gaps in my generation, you know?
Yeah, you're used to like what you're comfortable with, you know?
Yeah, that's part of it.
A little bit. Yeah.
So how old were you? Do you remember when you first saw this flick? Did it just blow your mind as far as the possibilities of filmmaking or what? Because it's pretty...
I wish I knew the answer. I could guess maybe because I'm 29 right now, and I probably saw that movie when I was like, when did it come out?
04, I think came out in China. I think maybe 05 is when Tarantino kind of blew it up here, right?
So that's what, 15, like about 17 years ago or something ish.
About 12. Oh shit, that's perfect.
Oh man.
Yeah, maybe I saw it when I was like 14 or something. Like I saw it with my parents. I know I saw it with my parents. We rented it, probably from Blockbuster, or maybe it was on TiVo. I have no idea. But
17 years ago, I was 30. That's how old I am.
He was a year older than you are now, 17 years ago.
You look good, man. You look
That's
good.
Hilarious.
Yeah, I just remember like watching the intro scene and being terrified because like when at least for me when I watch movies with my parents, it's like I hope Okay, so this is the way I was raised. All right, I was raised very, very Christian. Not to the point where it's like you can't read Harry Potter, but you know, it was like anything was fine as long as there wasn't nudity. It's like, okay, nudity, you got to close your eyes. Cursing, that's fine, but as long as you don't start cursing up a storm, then you know we got to lose the cursing. It never got to that point. I never curse anyway. Like just kind
Do
of.
you remember your parents ever turning a movie off that you were loving halfway through because there was too much cursing, like some Tarantino shit or something?
I mean, my dad showed me Reservoir Dogs, so.
Oh, nice. All right. So
yeah.
That's all right. That's my kind of Christianity.
Yeah.
Got to be at least watch some Reservoir Dogs.
It's just the skin, man. That's it. That's the fucking.
He had like
the original sin, man.
Yeah.
You know, all that stuff. Yeah. So I remember watching that movie, and this only happened a couple times. I know it happened with Inglourious Bastards with the beginning of that. But for both of these films, I was like, oh God, I hope, like, I'm on the edge of my seat. This is really intense right now. And like, I don't know what to expect. And like, I hope it's not too much for my parents right now, because I want to keep watching this because I don't want them to turn it off. Not that they had turned anything off, but still.
It's a great tension though to have added to your viewing experience. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, it's like, that's funny.
This shit's real.
Elevates it in some way.
Yeah, exactly. The stakes are higher, man.
And yeah, I just remember like the dude getting chucked into the police sign in the very beginning. Yeah. And I was like, this is so good. Like everyone, God, he's such a good filmmaker. Because this is the whole point of this whole thing, is like to talk about how great this is. The way he intros it with like you're hearing the sound of like something going down in the police station, and it's like just kind of free moving through the police station, and everyone's kind of frozen, like what's happening, and then a dude gets straight chucked into the police sign, and you're like, that's the best intro ever.
Yeah,
like,
the sound was a beating. It kind of right before it happens, you're like, this is a beating.
Yeah,
and then boom, and yeah, it's like
the reveal of information,
pure cinematic, purely cinematic. That it's revealing. It's intriguing you first off, then it's revealing information, all visually, not a word said. You know, it's pure cinema, man. It's beautiful, and it's violent and crazy and shit. And then once you step out in the
operatic,
street, it's visionary.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's just super goofy with a musical number.
Yes. Some Looney Tunes shit.
You know what you're in for. That.
Yeah. And it's like the mixture of comedy, like it's. Kung Fu Hustle is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. Yeah. And it's also a very like violent movie too, which I love. Like I love that they put all of it together.
But that's what cartoons are. Daffy Duck getting shotgun in the face, Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner. It's all violence. Yeah. This just, didn't use animation, used live action to do it.
That chase scene in particular between the landlady and main guy, that totally reminded me of some Roadrunner shit.
Oh, like 100%. That's 100%.
Perfect.
Dude,
and it somehow gets away with it. Most movies trying this shit would just fail. He just got what it takes to put it all together.
Keyed in on the right sense of humor, yeah. And the casting, like some of these kung fu masters are just these like very pedestrian looking dumpy dudes and stuff. I love that shit.
Yeah. It's so good. The guy who, I think it's the guy who dies. No, that's Shaolin Soccer. I've seen like all of his movies, so I get them mixed up. But
no one mentions him ever when they talk about the best directors who make the craziest movies and shit.
Yeah,
people would talk about Luc Besson or something before him. I'm like, what? Like,
yeah, it's crazy. I feel like Edgar Wright is the British version. Chow a little bit. Like his visual comedy is like top notch. Like Scott Pilgrim, amazing movie. When Knives rings the bell and is like, is Scott home? And then it like whips over to his roommate who answers the door, and he's like, no, he's out right now. And then you see him dive through the window in the background. Like the window is like higher than head height, and he like he dives out the window. Like, so yeah, I love Edgar Wright. Is amazing too for very similar reasons. But yeah, Stephen Chow I feel like is this like low-key incredible mastermind, and he's not really doing stuff anymore. Like he is doing Kung Fu Hustle 2 supposedly, but I don't know. He did The Mermaid last, which was it made me sad because I'm like, he's kind of hitting on all these jokes that I loved in Kung Fu Hustle and Shaolin Soccer and King of Comedy and like
that were fresh then.
Yeah, and he's just like he's trying to phone it in for But yeah, Kung Fu Hustle I'd say is like.
Sometimes that happens where someone will come along, a game changer, and they change the game, but then their own shit 30 years later, it's old hat because they already established it. It's essentially what's going on.
Yeah, and I know that he got into. The rumor is that he got kind of mixed up with triads and money stuff, and like
that just makes him even more epic as a director.
Yeah, and like he got into real estate. I think did a lot of real estate stuff afterwards after Kung Fu Hustle. Oh my God, funniest story ever. So my friend, this is so good. My good friend, his name's Arthur Toe, and he's a DIT on. He was there at the during the Revenant. He's been there on everything, like all the best stuff. And he is Chinese American, and I don't know how he got in this situation, but somehow he was the translator for Stephen Chow on a big like press junket thing for I think Kung Fu Hustle. I think it was either Kung Fu Hustle or
an American press junket like over here.
Yeah. And yeah, he has no business being in this position. Like, dude, what are you doing? He just barely speaks Chinese.
Nice.
Love it.
And
Wasn't there someone in the news who had like been faking hand signs on some speech?
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
That happened recently.
They're just throwing up gang signs and shit during the speech.
Oh my God.
What the fuck are they doing?
That sounds so stressful.
Right? Some Mr. Bean shit.
I tell people the main reason I'm trustworthy is because I'm lazy and it's just too stressful to maintain lies and keep track of shit. I'm like, I can't keep track of the truth. I'm not trying to fucking lie to people. Anyway,
so you were saying he was translating on this tour?
Yeah, he was trying to. It was just for this one. And like, you'd have an audience member ask some question to Arthur. And he was like, hey, Steven, what was it like to direct these actors? They're a very prominent actor in China. It's cool to see them in an American. Well, it's like a big in America now. What was it like to direct and work with that actor? And then Arthur would just like look over to Stephen Chow, and he would be like, in his translation, like, was it fun? And
just super basic shit.
Yeah.
Was it like he could understand it when he heard it, but wasn't so good at speaking it? Was that what was going on?
I don't know how he got in this.
Well, because people were asking him in English, he'd have to translate it to Chinese.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Yeah, it's difficult to translate it, but then like you could from English to Chinese, but maybe you could pick up the Chinese better. Yeah.
And then whatever Stephen Chow says, did he just come back and make his own shit up then? Or
I know. So basically, like, Stephen Chow just looks at Arthur and he's like, was it fun? Huh? Yes, it was fun. And then like he looks at Arthur, turns
how was it working with this actor? Yes.
Yeah, basically that was like,
I love it.
That's what happened like for like 5 or 6 questions. I was like, oh my God, to be in Arthur's shoes, that would be terrifying. To know you're just butchering it.
Dude, that's a move to make if you're some kind of social terrorist, though. Like, he could go in there and just ruin relationships. Yes. How was it to work with this actor? Sucked. That's what he said.
Big asshole.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be crazy, but that's a scene right there. That's like a really stressful scene that I can imagine. That's really
sounds like a legit like anxiety nightmare.
I love movies like that about liars. Chris and I talk about it all the time. Shattered Glass, The Hoax, these movies where people have started a lie and they just have to keep living it and it snowballs with another one and shit. You can't get out. And eventually you're like, I just got to tell a lie big enough that I can get out from under all this shit,
Like
we reviewed a movie about a real guy recently, someone else's favorite movie, Ryan Jackson's Chameleon Street. And it was about a guy who faked even being a doctor and a lawyer and all this shit. And he even did like, I forget how many, but it was an insane number of hysterectomies.
Whoa.
Faking being a doctor. It was like 40 something hysterectomies he did.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And this movie was totally just informed by it, but there was a real dude who did this.
Yes.
He ended up in Congress and shit, just several crazy cons that went all the way pretty much.
That's nuts.
Yeah, usually you get caught before it gets to the point where you're performing surgeries. You know what I mean? But if you're good enough at it, eventually,
like in the 70s or something, I think. When
nowadays you can't get away with shit. Nowadays it feels like, but
That's crazy. I just recently watched the Bikram yoga documentary. Did you guys?
no, but I've heard just like Joe Rogan and people like that talking about that dude in the past and some of the scandal and shit.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. He just
Is
like
this the guy who faked being like a cult leader? Or so?
Essentially the idea is that like he took his practice from India and he came to America and he said that like what he learned from his teacher, it was actually his work. And he basically plagiarized and stole it, said it's his ideas, and he became like the only yoga. Yeah, exactly. And like he became the only yoga superstar that I know of. So I don't know if you guys know, I'm big into yoga. I really love it. I technically have my, went to teacher training.
Nice.
So I'm serious about it. I do think it is the key.
That's why you're so much healthier than me in every single capacity.
I mean, I don't know. I just think like here, think about this. When you're like 80, right? Maybe even now, right? You're going to slip and you're going to fall. And it's at that point when that happens and you slip and you do the splits and you're like, oh my God, I just went, like I stretched my muscles and tendons the furthest they could possibly go in the like that I've pushed them to in the last 20 years. You're going to tear something. It's going to be so bad. But if you do that every week, then it's just a Tuesday,
Yeah. Conditioned yourself. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I could get into yoga.
That's the foresight.
Yeah. I need to think of it that way. That might motivate me better.
Neither of us are super mindful, and I'm even worse. I'm like so full of anxiety and shit. I'm like stuck in every moment, like dealing with it. So I can't even think of when I'm 80. I'm like, wait, I'm not gonna make it to 80. I'm gonna die tomorrow and shit, So it's hard to get into yoga in that way, but man, it's beneficial. You can see the benefits of it in people who practice it, obviously.
Absolutely. And
even a lot of athletes.
Good. Yeah. I mean,
right.
He was legit. Like he
stole good shit.
He did. Yeah. And, but he basically started hitting on all the women there and then, had raped some of the women there. And he would hold these giant teacher trainings. And like, basically once the teachers passed teacher training, they would go and start their own school under his name. And then they would like, basically as a teacher in this smaller school, they would say, hey, you, and you guys are all amazing and you should go to the teacher training. And that's the only way you can go to the teacher training. Oh, you have to also pay like $10,000. But they would just cherry pick all these people. So he would just get all these women to come to his like teacher training and just like pick whatever women he wanted. And like, yeah, sexual harassment, rape, and like, it was bad.
Just
really
playing
bad.
The guru card, trying to probably get these young women to look at him as a god and shit.
Exactly like that. Yeah,
cult status stuff, man. That is gross.
Yeah, really. And he's still doing it. He's still teaching and he's still doing stuff. 2019, he did one teacher training in Mexico or something.
You should infiltrate one with some hidden cameras and shit, dude. Or did these people who made that documentary, do they have footage of the actual train? See, that's what we got to get.
Oh no, there's footage of like the actual teacher training. Yeah,
you got to find some girls. You got to groom some young women to become yoga experts, like Charlie's Angels. They infiltrate, right?
And then Borat jumps out of the closet.
Exactly.
That'd be crazy. Get the evidence.
Giuliani his ass, basically.
Yeah, he's a pretty jacked up dude. But anyway, Shell and soccer. Or no, we're talking about Kung Fu Hustle.
You make me want to watch Shell and soccer.
Favorite scene? What was your guys' like? What was the biggest laugh for you guys in that movie?
Oh, shit.
Which may just be an exhale. Which may just be like, but that counts.
No.
That's big news,
Well, I mean, I don't guffaw when I'm by myself. Usually, I watched it by myself last night again. But dude, I had an ear-to-ear smile on the whole fucking time for the most part. It is like watching Looney Tunes, but cooler,
when he's picking people to fight out of the crowd,
Dude,
and
yeah.
he's like, you're small, and then he steps out his
Amazing.
giant muscles, and you're short, and he's like,
Dude, that is Buster
giant.
Keaton, Charlie
Yes.
Chaplin level mastermind shit.
And the landlady throughout, just die
Just a
in this
flip-flop.
racket,
Yeah.
Just the reveals with her too, with so many people, the idea that these people are not what you think they are, whether it's the tailor or the fucking, who was that other dude, the kanji maker or whatever, fucking
Yeah, the dough roller guy.
yeah, the dumpling maker or whatever, yeah, the dough guy,
Yeah.
or it's the landlady or whatever. Singh himself, who Stephen Chow plays, like nobody's what they seem, and it'll switch. It's weird, like it's very rare you see in a movie where it sets a character up like the landlady to be one thing, and then you're like, oh shit, she's a completely different thing through the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
That kind of character reversal is, and reveal, I guess, really her true nature is rare, and it almost feels like cheating, but it works in this movie so well because your expectations of how movies work and everything are already so subverted and dashed, that when he starts to pull little moves that I might have questioned more in another movie, it's like you're already fully on board, dude.
That's like what I want to do, is like do whatever you want, have fun with it, and like getting the audience to be okay with it. I think as long as you do it within the first 15 minutes, I think you're good, right?
That buy-in, yeah, you gotta.
Yeah. Well, like you mentioned that dance number in this, that just from there, anything goes. It's
Well, it's like we were just talking to Kevin Arbois, he said, right? Fucking
I don't remember.
Well, Bong Joon's fucking mother was his pick, and how that movie opens with a 3-minute scene of her just dancing in this meadow by herself, the mother character.
What movie is this?
You ever seen Mother from 2009?
Without the exclamation point.
Is that the one where like the kids? Is that the one where the kids like duct
Like
tape the mom or something to the bed? Or is that
No,
something
but that
else?
sounds awesome. Whatever that. I think you're thinking of Spank the Monkey, but no, David O. Russell, Spank the Monkey.
Oh man, it's
Spanking the
Mother 2017 American.
Nope. That's the Aronofsky version.
That's the wrong one, which I watched I watched the wrong Mother for the
That's
review.
funny.
Yeah, he is hilarious. So we're gonna try to do a follow-up
Dumbass.
one where we've all seen the same thing.
Oh,
and talk about both of them.
This one has the exclamation point.
That's the
how
one
you know
I
the
watched.
difference.
Right.
That's,
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Because we were saying Chris accidentally watched Mother
Right.
instead of Mother. But no, but it's a kind of a murder mystery thriller. But dude, you got to watch that movie if you haven't seen it.
Definitely, yeah. Like my fiance would love that too. We would definitely watch that together.
Yeah, I mean, student made Parasite, Snowpiercer, fucking The Host.
Dude,
It's amazing.
Parasite, super solid. I was not the biggest fan of Snowpiercer though. I
That's
don't know
funny
why.
because
couldn't
we
get
said the
into
same
it
to him. He even agreed that's his favorite filmmaker, and we're like, there's just something about that. Well, it's exactly kind of what we're talking about too. That you need that buy-in, right? And
Right.
there's a narrative hook we all know as storytellers, but as a director, you need to think of a tonal hook. You got to hook these people on the tone so they know this is the tone of this movie, and you buy in. And like it's exactly what you were talking about with the opening scene and sequence, you could say, of Kung Fu Hustle, where it carries from that shit you described to in the street where all the gangs or the elements of the same gang, the Axe gang, converge from every borough, almost like some gangs in New York shit, but it's all one gang. And then they bust out these hatchets and the action is stylized. And from that moment on, with the music cue, as you said, kicks in, it's like you're in for that kind of ride. Snowpiercer maybe didn't work on that level, or the affectation of it, steampunk stuff like that sometimes hits me that way. I'm like, would this shit really look like this? In these,
I think
I don't know.
steampunk stuff just reminds me of the audience, the fan base.
yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Right.
It feels like almost pandering to or catering to a fan
It's like,
base.
it's like I'm at a convention,
Yeah,
or something. Is the way I
exactly.
feel.
The
It's hard to
affectation.
take seriously.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's always in these dystopian societies that would be utilitarian by design, yet everyone's style conscious. And I get it as a aesthetic,
Yeah, it's like
I
a
get why.
fashion sort of
Right.
area. Yeah.
But as a storyteller,
Sensibility. Yeah.
it just doesn't resonate with me.
Same.
But Kung Fu Hustle doesn't have those problems,
No, not at all, man. Dude, the moment I think this is Kung Fu Hustle. Is the the lollipop.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man, it's so good. Like when he realizes, so basically he's a gangster and like he goes to, or he's trying to prove he's a gangster, and he goes to the lollipop stand and like robs this girl of like, I don't know, a couple bucks, and then like holds her up with the knife. And dude, and then the shot,
the Fred Astaire poster,
yeah,
Ginger Rogers, yeah,
man, it's so good.
The homage again, it feels so classical. All of it.
He was inspired as a kid to be like a kung fu hero or whatever, and then he saw this girl that, you know, in a flashback you see that he saw this girl being bullied, and she had the lollipop, and when he tried to protect her, he got his ass beat by the same guys that were bullying her. So when later he goes to this ice cream stand, and I love too because they were just showing the flashback just before that, and he's saying, I realized then good guys never win. I want to be bad. I want to be a killer.
Right.
Ice cream, where?
Yeah.
And then they run over to the ice cream stand, and then the girl at the ice cream stand was the same girl that he had tried to protect, and had that pivotal moment where he realized that the good guys don't win, and I got to be a bad guy if I want to succeed in this world like these other guys, you know. And yeah, the lollipop was the recurring motif to
that like crossfade from like the old lollipop to the dang, and the music there was perfect. And like, isn't she blind? Wasn't she blind or something?
Mute.
Yeah, she's a mute.
She was mute.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, and then at the end, it does the same match cutting with the lollipop when he finds the broken one or whatever. Right? He's trying to put it back together or some shit, and it falls apart. Or she is, and then she is, and then it cuts
he
to
shattered it. Yeah,
a huge like neon sign of it, because Stephen Chow's partner in crime, this flabby dude with these terrible axe tattoos on his chest because they're trying to get into the axe gang, but it's all way too big and everything. You know? It's hilarious. She's always truffle shuffling like the Goonies and shit, right?
Yes.
But
dude, there's a scene in Shaolin Soccer with that same chubby guy, and like it's him basically at his deadbeat job at some grocery store, and you know, at the point in the movie, Stephen Chow's character has asked all of his old friends, hey, would you do this with me, you know, be on my soccer team and let's use our kung fu, remember your old kung fu? He's like, oh, I don't do that anymore. He's like, people don't call me by my real name, they just call me Fat Slob. And like, it's like, oh my God, dude, that's horrible. And then some old woman comes like, hey, Fat Slob, like, can you get the toilet paper for me at the top of this giant thing? And then I'm jumping all around. But anyway, he's like, he like shows this picture, and he's like, oh, that's not me anymore. And he's like emaciated. He's like so skinny. And he's like, dude, what happened? You're like 300 pounds now. That's insane.
But Fat Slob.
Just that joke, dude, of like, what happened in that time frame?
That was a hilarious moment.
Well, speaking from experience,
when the knives kept it, like he was trying to throw the knife at the landlady, and then it just landed in his shoulder, and just like it kept happening. He just kept getting punctured by these knives, and then the snake
pulls it out, and the guy's like, no, so he sticks it back in, like, oh.
That's one of the best.
Buddy tries to throw a basket at her, and it has snakes in it, and they all fall on him. It's great.
Cobras bite his lip and shit. It is Buster Keaton shit, dude. It's
right.
Top shelf, man.
It really is. Yeah, that's one of the best jokes in the whole movie.
Yeah.
Is the knife thing, and who's throwing handles?
Yes, throws the handle, hits her in the head because the blade's stuck in homeboy.
And I love like inventive kung fu powers and shit, and the guys with the music, you know, playing an instrument and sending fucking blades of air at people and stuff.
That shit works in a horror movie or something. You know what I mean? It's like that's another thing tonally. It's like kaleidoscopic, where it has this basic kind of motif or tonal, you know, framework that you can hang everything else on, but it'll take switches. It'll be like, this is like horrific. This is scary, you know?
Yeah, when it was first introduced and the guy was walking down the alley and you just see like things getting sliced. You know, he doesn't notice at first, and then the cat, the shadow of the cat, and then he's like, what's going
genius.
on? And, yeah, that was sick.
Well, and just how orchestrated those shots are. I mean, that's a tracking shot with shadow work, with timing, and it's So
It's
he's
unbelievable.
visionary. It's truly
Really?
visionary. Tarantino gets away with that tonal kind of shifting sometimes too. When you think of like The Basement and Pulp Fiction, or one of the coolest ones for me is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That whole Spawn Ranch scene is some of the best horror movie shit I've ever seen.
Oh,
it's almost
yeah.
like a mini horror movie inside this hangout movie, you know?
Yeah.
And that's kind of how those dudes felt to me, because that's just that steadily, but then the aesthetic of it, just even the way he'd hit the note, boom, just something rad about it. I've never seen shit like that before. It's out of a video game, but kind of cooler than anything I've seen in a game, you know?
Or like a comic,
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Or Stephen Chow is, to me, the best director to do live action anime. Though he's not doing anime, he's not adapting like an IP, but he visualizes and makes these moves real. He makes it actually happen. Like there's a move in Kung Fu Hustle when the whole Axe Gang comes to infiltrate and the masters all reveal themselves. And I think it's the guy who put all the rice on his back.
Yes.
The guy who catches the flame.
Catches, yep.
That guy. He does a move where he like runs forward. He jumps up and then he like turns his body horizontal to the ground. So his chest is facing down as the two axes come over his back.
Yes.
And he drop kicks a guy. And it's like that move is definitely impossible to do, but the way that they shot it, it looks like it could actually be possible. And it's like straight out of an anime, straight out of the Matrix. Yeah, the choreography is top notch. I heard a rumor that Sammo Hung actually choreographed all of that.
He's done.
Sammo Hung is, so you have Jackie Chan,
Right.
Yun Biao, and Sammo Hung, and those are the three dragons. That's what, like, all the old movies, you know, like Sammo Hung was probably the most famous Sammo Hung movie. Like if you ever watch old Jackie stuff, he's in all those. It's always the three of them. He's the bigger guy. Yeah, I mean, he was in Ip Man 2. Did you guys see Ip Man 2?
Haven't watched it, but know of it.
I haven't either. Sure. I hear about it all the time, though.
We got to get more on Asian cinema, dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
have you seen
keep
the first Ip Man?
No.
Oh, I haven't seen any of them.
Oh, my God.
I know, dude. We got some gaps. That's partly why we're doing the show. It's like someone else to speak passionately about something they love, turn us on to it. Kung Fu Hustle I'd seen, of course, but
in our like early 20s, we had seen everything on the marquee in the theaters and stuff. But then we started writing, and since then, it's all been focused on our own stupid projects and shit, and not consuming as much has been a big part of it. Yeah, but
I'm in the same exact boat, but just shifted forward like how many years.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. There's
yeah, you were
where you
that period when you were watching everything was during that renaissance. Because we probably started writing and shit 4 years before Kung Fu Hustle came out, even. But we've been around.
Man, writing is so hard.
We're old.
Yeah, it's a bitch.
Man, yeah,
directing is hard too, but it's mostly just hard socially. You know what I'm saying? Like, logistically, but it's still a pain in the ass essentially. But writing is just a different kind of flexing, different muscles. You know.
Yeah, I'd much rather direct. That's why.
Well, when you direct, the times you have to get creative are awesome.
Yeah,
like creative problem solving. That's one of the probably the most appealing part of directing to me. But it's because it's like this moment that you have to rise to the occasion. Writing, it's that all day. It's like Sisyphus. It's a constant act of creation, and it's fucking just taxing. And it's so easy to get wrong because it's so subjective. You know what I mean? Yeah. I feel like it's more subjective than bad directing or not, you know?
Bad directing is like...
That's objective, pretty much. You could tell it when you see it.
Yeah, I think, but it always comes back to the writing first. You know, the script is the foundation of anything you're going out to do. And like, you can... I wonder, do you guys have any examples of like a great script, but it was just directed poorly?
Man, there's fucking millions of examples I know, but... I'm sure. I'm just trying to think of one off the top of my head, but
yeah, I can't think of it. Like I can think of movies I don't like, but I don't know if that necessarily means the script.
Well, there's that famous saying that you can make a bad movie off a good script, but you can't make a good movie off a bad script. You know, and that's true for sure. That's an axiom, I would say.
when it comes to the processes too, the thing that always attracted me to writing was like this sort of deep sea diving flow state you can achieve.
Sure.
Whereas with directing and stuff, it's more like you have to be on point. You're making decisions, you know, it's all like in this narrow, you know, capturing lightning, you know, limited time. Everyone's, you know, got to be on point. But with writing, you can luxuriate in it more. You can, you know, if you can enter that flow state, that really is the goal, you know.
Right.
And once you get there, it's like money. It's
keeping your life simple helps as a writer. Like once you get a family and all that shit, it's
Mm-hmm.
hard, man. Because then it becomes a plate you're juggling, you know, not this thing.
Right.
You can't really hit a flow state. You're
You
like,
need to
all right, I have a 2-hour window to write.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good luck hitting that flow state, you know, like you would if you're just hanging out all day. Fucking, I mean,
well, a lot of my best writing was done after we sold a script to Zac Efron and it afforded us a couple years where I could quit my day job and I just lived at Jay's place and didn't have any kind of responsibilities or anything. And I could do that. I could deep sea dive every day. And yeah, when you're trying to juggle a day job or family or what have you, it's, you know, and you're trying to just squeeze it into these little windows of time. It's a whole different animal.
That's why I quit my job at Corridor, is because I couldn't do everything. I had to choose, and I'm so happy. Yeah, it's like, it's been so much fun to be able to focus on my stuff, and like, it's so rewarding already after the first 2 months. It's like super rewarding, and I already know it's going to go up.
well,
Nice.
you've already found ways to monetize. That's the thing that's so hard for people working on speculation. Thing. You want to talk about this NFT shit at all?
I'd love to get into that if you're interested.
Are dying to talk about it.
Sure.
I don't know how many details you want to divulge or whatever, but
well, the first time we ever heard of it was we were having a rap party virtually for Cactus Jack with Nate and other people, and he mentioned that you were getting involved with it, and you know, first thing I thought was a fucking tulip craze in Holland, if you're familiar with that. Like,
no,
what? People are buying stuff that isn't physical? Like, you know.
Do you want to tell what the tulip craze was?
Then like a week or two later, Beeple sold his, you know, $69 million.
What was the tulip craze? Wasn't it that? I'm trying to remember the exact specifics. It was an interesting footnote of history.
Well, yeah, it was just like where there was this fad or this craze that took over in Holland. I forget the years, but it was like 1600s, 1700s or something. And they, the price of a tulip, a single tulip bulb would be like a fortune. It would be like of the price of a house or something.
Like all the elites started buying them all. And, the tulips, the flower.
Google it. It's crazy.
Dude, that actually would make a sick movie. The tulip craze shit. Like just some.
It's mentioned in McKay's, you know, Popular Delusions and the Madness of Crowds. It's one of the centerpieces of that. But people would just like spend their life savings on a tulip, and then just the whole thing crashed eventually when people realized.
Well, and it's like, would somebody be willing to murder for a tulip?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's the craze at that point, possibly when they're worth that much.
That was before we were schooled more in NFTs, but we still have a lot to learn about it. We considered possibly putting up like the Cactus Jack poster, minting it, so to speak, you know, as a digital, you know,
especially since it's getting rejected by aggregators and shit. We're like, this film is like too hot for TV. Yeah. So we figured the NFT outlaw cinema thing.
It sounded like it.
It is. But
almost,
I mean, we've got
by
great
design. I mean, we're not surprised by that.
Right. You know? Like say Indie Film Threat, one of the more reputable indie film review sites out there, gave it a 7 out of 10. Talked about, you know, how relevant it is, and even beyond that, Michael Gall's performance, etc. So we've got some legitimate indie cred even with it critically, yet no mainstream aggregator will take it on to even submit it to iTunes, Amazon, etc. Because it's a challenging film. So we were just wondering if the NFT space, if that might help it at all or hurt it at all. But even beyond our own project, we're just interested as shit in the whole ecosystem, how it works philosophically, what it's about. If you want to help explain to people out there what it is, I mean, some people will never understand what a non-fungible token is, right? No matter.
You sold a couple pieces for pretty hefty prices, right? So you definitely no.
It's pretty nuts. So basically, like I'll try to explain as best I can in as short amount of time as possible. So there's the idea that like people know that Bitcoin exists, cryptocurrency, right? Mm-hmm. So the way I understand it, the blockchain is think of it as a playground where cryptocurrency can like operate. And it's basically a giant ledger of information is this giant blockchain. And you have miners, crypto miners, Bitcoin miners, who like dedicate their computer's energy to fulfilling transactions for people who want to use Bitcoin or Ethereum or any other cryptocurrency as a currency. So the more that people use cryptocurrency and Bitcoin or Ethereum or any other of these, cryptocurrencies,
just the more transactions there are.
Yeah, the more transactions there are, the more miners are needed to do it. And like the miners are rewarded for donating their computers 24/7 energy basically to the blockchain to keep the blockchain, like you're investing your computer's energy into this blockchain, into
like maintaining the ledgers, so to speak.
Yeah.
And peer reviewing, essentially. It's just all these computers at once have a simultaneous similar role to just monitor it and host it too, kind of, or what? How does it?
Just provide the energy to like.
Right.
Yeah, the hosting side is interesting because that's more sort of ethereal, right? Like the it's all across the world on like every computer that's involved in this.
Yeah,
it's not kept in some. That's part of the beauty of it, right? That it's not a central location. It's
exactly. It's not controlled by a government or anything. Yeah, any one person or whatever. Yeah. So these crypto miners are rewarded in Bitcoin or Ethereum or any other cryptocurrency by providing their computer's energy to keep the thing going. So you couldn't really buy anything with it though. Like, there's a story of a guy who bought pizza with it.
Yeah, like spent like what now is $365 million worth of Bitcoin on pizzas.
Something crazy like that.
Some kill yourself number.
I know. And the guy who actually sold the pizza to him sold it. You traded it for like a trip or something. Some kind of vacation or whatever. And now,
he should have held on to that too.
Yeah,
I hope it was like Branson, Missouri or some shit. Not even some exotic. Like he went to Egypt to see the pyramids he dreamed of as a child. It's like
to see the giant spool of yarn or
get a bus ticket.
He went to see Jason Aldean in Branson or something.
Now, specifically, NFTs are just like a certain amount of cryptocurrency. They occupy a certain part of the blockchain, right? When you mint something, a digital piece of art or what have you. It's like essentially a string in the blockchain that's made permanent and can be owned by someone.
Yeah, every transaction is a block in the blockchain that's stacked on top of each other. And the art itself is not on the blockchain. It's basically a like text reference to the art that's on.
This is what fucks everyone up so much.
Sort of like a certificate of authority or authenticity, rather.
Exactly.
Legitimizes it.
Yeah, but like for anyone who deals in hard physical goods, like say baseball autographs, if you got a Mickey Mantle autograph and you got it PSA certified or whatever, never in a million years is that certification going to become worth more than the autograph. But the NFT thing is so crazy because that authentication is all there is. That's what's worth the money, right? Because you don't get to own the piece of art necessarily. You're just buying like the token that says it exists or something.
One demonstration of that I've heard is, say, when someone owns a Picasso, for example, it still can be digitally reproduced on the internet, just like an NFT. So even though you have the physical copy, the same thing can happen. Like that, you don't actually own the image itself. You just happen to have that physical copy. But yeah, with this, it's like you're just essentially quote unquote minting one digital copy, but it doesn't exist as a physical medium.
With the Picasso, you still own the historic artifact of this canvas that this fucking master painted on. I mean, give me a break. That's completely different than. That's what I'm saying. It's so weird. So for you, like you made a piece of digital art.
Yeah, I've done 2 auctions at this point, and I'll be doing a third.
Which is fucking awesome, dude. I love you so much for doing this and pulling it off because
it's crazy.
I mean, the art you made is dope as shit too. Can people see it somewhere out there, or can we post a picture of it here? I mean, who owns it? You? That guy?
I mean, you can just go superrare.co/Punisher.
Yeah,
you can see it there. I believe.
I know how to pronounce that shit. Punisher, good.
Let's see. Let me make sure that's correct. Super rare.
Punisher's an amazing net name, by the way. Like, you fucking parked on a good one, dude.
Thanks. Yeah, they're both up there. superrare.co/PWNISHER. But yeah, so basically the way I heard is the reason people are paying so much for this is because never in cryptocurrency's history have the people who own a lot of cryptocurrency, they've never been able to buy anything cool with it. And this is the first thing that they can buy that's like cool. And there's a ton of artists that they love. A lot of these guys are nerdy. I'm nerdy. And it's the freaking nerdy mix right there.
It's a way to support artists.
Yeah, it's like they're going to be into nerdy stuff. They're going to be into like Freddie W YouTube videos. They're going to be into Corridor Digital. They're going to be into like my YouTube channel. The people who have cryptocurrency to spend now that crypto art is a thing. And it just happens that I'm an artist and I can, mint this piece and people will pay for it. So it's freaking awesome.
Do you expect this to last, or do you think it might be like the tulip craze and you're just capitalizing while you can? And
I'll certainly like make the most of the time I have, because especially now that I'm like on my own, it's like I have to live, I have to survive.
If it exists though, you could just keep, your prices might keep going up and up and up, and you can become a superstar in the NFT space. But that's the question, is how long is it going to last? I was just wondering if you had any inclination or hunch about it, because who fuck knows? But
I have no idea. I think it's kind of tied to how cryptocurrency does. Like, obviously, if you guys follow it, there was a big drop in cryptocurrency price. So if your crypto isn't worth anything anymore, then no one's gonna be buying any art anymore.
Thanks, Elon. I'm just kidding. Dogecoin's a hustle.
But if it goes back up, if Ethereum goes back up to like 5K, then that means people are it's a boom.
I wonder if the counter might be the problem though, because things are often counterintuitive, that the more cryptocurrency becomes legitimized and people can buy cool shit with it, they don't need to buy these tulips, because right now the tulips are the cool shit that they can buy with it, like you said, but when you can eventually start buying
other stuff, other cool stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever, the whole spectrum of things you can buy, the more legitimate it becomes.
I think you're still going to have those like serious art collectors who really enjoy this. I went to a dude's place who's very, very big in the space here, like the top. He's one of the top collectors, and like he's just doing this 24/7, and like got super cool art on the wall. Like, they just love the art. They love collecting.
How do they display it? Is it a digital display? Like yours is a moving, living image,
So if you've seen Beeple's stuff, basically he sent out a physical shipment with the NFT for people who are like, what is this? I don't understand. Oh, it's something physical. I'm buying this. Okay, I see. So they get this giant box, and in the box is like basically a giant, like thick glass case that's like, I don't know. Yeah, it's like 5 inches by like 8 inches or something. And it actually displays a piece of art and it moves. So it's just a LCD screen, and they're going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And you can frame them on your wall, like huge ones, so.
Which is pretty wild to have this moving piece.
That makes a lot more sense, though. It's a lot easier for people to wrap their mind around that than just the non-fungible token they're purchasing.
Another aspect to this is like the NBA, for example, is selling like videos of so many seconds of a game, for example, right? And that, in a way, is sort of like bragging rights. It's like saying, I own this piece of history. Like, I own this like score or whatever. This
totally.
So I think in that sense, that's how this works too, is like it's like bragging rights. I own this piece, even though it doesn't physically exist. I own, the one minted copy that is considered. And I got to say, like, I've dabbled in digital art, through my life. And I always lamented that was the case, that there was no form of, making one painting that had value.
Same.
And now that it's actually happening, kind of blows my mind. I hope it does continue and prosper.
Me too, as an artist.
Yeah, certainly.
I mean, there's so much good shit out there that people have had a hard time monetizing, you know? It's like maybe you can do a small commission or something, but there's also the bidding war aspect of this. It's like the whole thing is a gallery because you go through auctions, right? Can you tell us about this auction process at all? Because do you got to get vouched in? We hear it's some kind of...
Well, no, it just depends on the platform, right?
Yeah, so to be able to post on the platform like Super Rare, I'm on Super Rare. It's like it's like a vetted process, and they only have, I think there's like 1,300 artists on it right now. There's another one, Nifty Gateway, that was like one of the top ones, but I heard recently they kind of oversaturated.
Is that the Winklevoss one? Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, and then there's like Maker's Place, which is really nice right now. They're doing a good job, and then like it goes down from there. But yeah, like it's hard to get into. Certainly hard to get into. I was fortunate enough to like get in early enough because Beeple actually, he reached out to me and he I don't know, spent an hour or two to just do a video chat with me and tell me what this is. Like what I'm telling you guys are now, like he did with me, and he was like, "This is what this is. You got to get on this. Like it's gonna go crazy."
So Beeple was a fan of yours and reached out saying, "Dude, jump in on this shit."
Yeah, because we've done stuff in the past together. Like when I was at Corridor, we did render challenges together, a few of them. There's a show, VFX Artists React, that he came on and we did together. So like, and we're all at the same conventions and the same, you know, hangouts because we're in the same space. You know, we're all doing digital art together. So, yeah, he broke it down for me and said, you know, get into this. So I got in early, and earlier than some, which I would still consider late, but yeah. And then to actually bid on the stuff, you just need to have an Ethereum wallet essentially and have some Ethereum in there.
Can you explain the gas to me? NFT gas, like that's how that's calculated and
so like that's the energy that you're paying that. What's the best way to explain this? It takes energy to mint your art, to put up an auction, to sell something. It takes actual like power, you know?
Fuel.
Yeah. So that's what the gas fee is. Like you're paying the computers, like those miners that we talked about earlier. You're paying those guys to see the transaction through. You're paying.
Is it based on like the value of the sale, or is it just like a fixed number that when you put the piece up, it's like X dollars? I saw like $70 here and there. Some people say it would cost to put up a piece of art or something. Okay.
Is that dependent on like the bandwidth that piece of art takes up or anything, or is it?
No, I think
it has to do more with the like the gas itself fluctuates, right? Like just like real gas, the price of gas, like the Ethereum, it's based on Ethereum primarily, right? Or
it's like how many people are minting right now. That's what it depends on. So I've heard is like if there's a bunch of people like needing to use, you know, the service, then it's going to be a lot. Like you can check it right now. So let's see, ETH gas station.
Sweet.
So let's say if we were to put our Cactus Jack poster up, for example, what do you think would be the best platform for that? Would it be
if you can get into the foundation, maybe.
Okay.
That's probably the best one. That's like the first. That's like a very doable, vetted service. So you're going to have to get into that. You're going to have to sign up. You're going to have to get invited to that. I'm not on the foundation, so I can't send out an invite, but you know, people, I think you guys could probably do it.
I mean, it is unique. It's like, it would be, you know, and then there's the question too. I see that, you know, you can release just one singular piece, or you can have like limited editions, you know, say 100 or something of that nature. What did you do in your example? They were like singular, unique,
one of one
pieces. Yeah.
It feels like the move if you really want to try and capitalize on that one piece, sort of, you know, I mean.
Yeah, but here's the thing, is like, if you're trying to make money.
Yeah, I know. It's tough.
You're going to make, the fastest way to make $1 million is to make $1,000 sales versus $1 million
sale.
There's no way you're gonna make a $1 million sale. Like you're gonna make $1,000 sales. So places like Maker's Place, I think Foundation does it as well. I'm not exactly sure. They'll have the open editions. Super Rare is only one of one. So
okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Which is good for buyers who are looking for a one-on-one. They don't want to have to sift through all that. I'm sure a filter could handle that, but still, it's just cool to. have a marketplace that caters to that sensibility.
Right now, minting price is low.
Oh, okay.
When I minted mine, so this number is not USD. When I minted mine, it was 130. That was roughly $70. So maybe half.
Okay.
Right now it's 30.
So you could expect somewhere like 30 to 100 or so, depending on the
it's
current.
like $15 right now.
Oh shit!
Oh
nice.
shit! We gotta do that for the hell of it.
Yeah.
If you want to get into a place that doesn't have any sort of like vetted process, you can try Rarible or OpenSea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard
those
both.
you don't need to get like in, but I would suggest getting into.
Yeah, if you can get into
Try
a
that
vetted one,
first.
I feel like it's like a flea market haggle versus the Sotheby's auction or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, the more exclusive, the better, in terms of getting some whale or something to buy your shit.
Yeah.
Have you corresponded much with the guy who bought your stuff? I almost wanted to have a podcast with someone like you who sold something and the cat who bought it
and the buyer.
Yeah, I would love to have that conversation take place, but I'm just wondering if you know anything about the guy, what he had to say about the art or why he bought it or anything.
I mean, he's a fan. He's been a fan of my stuff for years.
That's cool.
And we met up. I got him lunch. He's very nice, very funny. We played a lot of Smash Bros. We're both big gamers. Yeah. So like it was cool. Usually, I don't know about usually, but like there a lot of the times like these collectors will be anonymous.
Right.
But this guy was like super cool. You know, we're gonna meet up later too. Like he's awesome. Yeah, really cool.
Yeah,
and like
weird,
I learned a lot from him too. You know, like he taught me a lot. I was like, I have all these like, well, like the perception of like the perception of like which sites are better than others, or like the low key like info on like who's doing what, you know, which collectors are doing what, that kind of stuff. So it's like really interesting. Very
trade
cool.
speak. Yeah.
Crazy.
Man, you are in the middle of a cool scene. It's so crazy. It's still hard to wrap your mind around it and whether it's going to last or not. You know, there's some risk there, which makes it fun and interesting, you know?
Yeah, certainly. But I'm not putting all my eggs into that basket. I'm trying to diversify as much as possible because like the way I think of it is I can't make the movies that I want to make if like I am worried about eating or paying rent.
Yeah,
like,
it's a problem.
I have to be as business minded as possible.
Yeah.
Well, what's up with making movies in the NFT space? Are you thinking about exploring some kind of NFT release or?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Because I'm curious about how rights work with that. It seems like some films are actually giving up distribution rights.
Yeah, that's
as part of the
selling
NFT
as an
package,
NFT.
Which I wonder if that's the move to make. I feel like it's maybe a compromise by filmmakers who are always so desperate. We always compromise out the gate on everything, writers and filmmakers, where it's like, bros, you could just be selling the NFT. It could have value.
Right?
Yeah, it's like
some artists are making a commission on sales of the NFT, I heard. So you keep the rights and you also make a commission if the person wants to go sell it beyond that.
Right.
Yeah, so you make 10%. Every secondary sale makes 10%.
That's awesome.
That's beautiful. And you still keep the rights.
Yeah.
Amazing. Totally. I was going to say one beauty of this though is that we were talking about, say, a Picasso, for example, which is a hilarious example because a physical painting can be destroyed, whereas this can't. Even famously, have you ever heard of Stephen Wynn destroying a Picasso by accident by putting his elbow through it?
No.
Like the Wynn Hotel guy?
Yeah, I think he had just bought it. And he was like, it was like on an easel next to him, and he like turned around and his elbow went through it.
That's like something out of fucking a Stephen Chow movie.
So I was going to say that's actually a great selling point for NFTs. You know, you can't put your elbow through a digital.
No need to insure it.
You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, you think about the insurance price when they see even an episode of fucking, what is that show where they, you know, the Country Road Show, Antique Road Show or whatever, where they'll tell you this should be insured at $280,000 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't need to insure an NFT work of art, do you? I mean,
right. I mean, it can't be destroyed. It's short of an EMP blast from the sun, which we're all doomed anyway if that happens. Otherwise, I'm not
there's
sure
hardened
NFT can destroy
shit out there, you know. Yeah, is the blockchain impervious to solar flares and EMP blasts? Do you know if that shit's under all shielded, hearted locations or what?
underground bunkers.
I don't know. I think it's like every person's computer who is helping keeping it alive. Like you'd have to.
They have to shield it and everything.
I'm making this up, so don't believe me here.
We should
But,
create a quality control mechanism where we rate and authenticate.
That is like every computer that is helping the blockchain exist has to be destroyed. So you have to track them down every.
You're alone, right?
Yeah. Is it cool if I start filming now?
No, what are we getting inside? Why are you here?
I just thought it was really interesting, that someone hasn't left their basement in 6 months, not even to use the bathroom. Is that true?
Why would I want to go out there? I got everything I need right here. That's what's wrong with most people. They're weak-willed pussies and parasites who buy into that whole "it takes a village" bullshit. You know how many aliases I've used calling into radio shows?
I've had it up to my goddamn gills with the systematic feminization of this country.
Of course we want to. Get your own damn show if you think you got that much to say.
You live in your mom's basement.
Fuck you! What's so special about my loser son?
You really do hate your own mother.
She's a woman. Why wouldn't I?
There's some disconnect there, and if I can find it, what is hate? Where does it come from? Where does it go?
You want to know what gender you are? Reach down the front of your fucking pants and shoot fucking kite. Black Lives Matter. Do you call horses slaves? Liberal fucktard. Enough with the parades and the rainbow flags.
Dude, this guy's... it's like pure hate, man.
I want to see something really fucking cool.
This guy is a fucking animal. He's got himself on a leash. He's itching to get off that fucking leash. And he's gonna fucking kill some people.
What a fucking show. Stop! What do we hear?
Look at me! Look at me!
We're gonna help you show them the light. We're gonna change the world. This is Cactus Jack coming to you live from a studio audience.
To the man who calls himself Cactus Jack, we have watched as you have rocketed to infamy.
And you wonder why these cornered animals lash out. Get the fucking side.
And now, we have watched as you have called for literal blood.
I know you're out there listening. It's buzzing in your ears, burrowing into your brain. Do it.
Jack, you're gonna love this. I pulled that trigger on that motherfucker's head.
Your VPN will not shield you. The darknet will not hide you. You and your kind are finished.
You think I'm scared of you?
Come and fucking get me!
Might I be your neighbor? Neighbor?